Welcome to the Get Fit with Me, expanding your physical and mental fitness group. This group is for individuals who are ready to expand both their physical and mental fitness while helping and supporting others with similar goals all along the way. I am super excited for today's call. We actually taught this last week in the Commit to Your Health program. So you guys will get to see a little bit of a glimpse of what we teach in some of the paid programs, which is awesome. But it's always it's a system and it's a process that's really good to review even if you've done it before. Because until you're consistently meal planning, it's really hard to remember what all the steps are. So in this group, we talk about three main areas: our physical fitness, which is exercise, stretching, mobility, things along that lines. We talk about nutrition, which is today's topic, which is meal planning, balancing of your carbs, your fat, your proteins, healthy recipes, how to make it quick, easy, and simple. And then we also talk about mental fitness, which is going to be that goal setting, the accountability, the organization, things along those lines. And like I said, today we are talking about nutrition, and we're in that topic. And I'm going to be sharing my 5-step process to successfully meal plan. And as I was planning this out, I realized there's actually 6 steps, but it all kind of balances out. So it is a 6-step, but I'm going to call it a 5-step because once you do the first step, you can replace it. So before we get into the training, we've got 2 people here on Zoom with us. I know you guys are muted, so I'm going to ask these questions. If you unmute, I will know you are able to talk and participate. If you don't, I will just know you are here and ready to listen. For those of you who are on Facebook, though, either drop live or replay to let me know you are here. Answer these questions and follow along as we go through this 5-step process, as well as the activity that's attached today. So for those of you who are here, I want to know who you are, what's your name, and what is your biggest struggle when it comes to meal planning or meal prepping? Whatever words you want to use. Hello, Jean. You're at home. You're not at school. I don't think I've ever seen you here.
I know, right? Yeah, it's you can recognize it's my home because it's not school. Yes, I'm Jean Mayville, and I have been working with Morgan, I don't know, 3-ish years maybe. And my biggest struggle with meal planning is I I don't meal plan, but I know what I want to eat. And so I am a different person that I have been married for going on 33 years, and I don't think I've cooked maybe 3 meals, if that. And so if my husband doesn't make it, then he'll leave leftovers and I figure it out. Yeah, so I'm not a good, I need this class, but I don't think I'll use it, the way you want me to, let's put it that way. So I don't know. I could go on, so I'm not going to.
Well, I will ask. So your husband, I know, primarily makes dinner. For lunches, though, you have to make sure that that's planned ahead of time so you can take to school, correct?
Yeah. That is true. And like he also does the shopping. So I tell him what I want, and I'm big in chicken. Poultry products really seem to work well with my body and my body type and make me feel the best. I still love a good hamburger and a good steak, but I definitely try to fuel my lunch with poultry type products and salad.
Awesome. So think about today from an aspect of how can you be more efficient when prepping your lunches, knowing
Okay.
that that's the meal that you have to, that's the meal that you prep and plan for the most, because he's
Okay.
got the rest covered. So kind of look at it through that lens, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No. Okay.
Awesome. Are you cooking as you listen?
Well, I'm making caramel corn, which I use air pop popcorn, marshmallows, brown sugar, and I'm prepping that to give that away to a friend of mine. So, and
Oh,
probably tea, but yeah.
that sounds delicious. So enjoy. Same thing. I will keep talking and asking questions. If you guys don't unmute, then I will know that I'll just move on to the next question and you're in the middle of doing something. So feel free, listen, come in and out. Excited to have you here. See you 2 days in a row.
I know, right? Thank you.
Kelly or Mom, for those of you that don't know, Kay Brisley is my mom. So Mom, who are you other than Mom? And what is your biggest struggle with meal planning and prep?
The most important person that I am is your mom. So we're just going to go with that. My biggest struggle with meal prep is I just don't do it. I cook for myself. I don't really enjoy cooking. It's hard to cook for one person. And when I don't, like when I do make soup, I'll eat it for 4 or 5 days. I have a tendency to do a lot of bagged salads and then just add a protein to it. Or I do cauliflower rice and throw some protein with it and pretend like it's a stir fry. So biggest challenge is I don't do it. And I think that's because then that would require me to do more planning to get the right groceries and then to spend time cooking. So.
Okay, perfect. And honestly, I can tell a difference between when I meal plan and when I don't. My meals are better because I've planned to go to the grocery store and have the things.
Yeah.
This week with the holiday coming up, I have ate a lot of oatmeal. I'm going to tell you what, I'm tired of oatmeal because oatmeal and eggs is about all we've had in the house. But it's because we didn't plan. Whereas if I would have just taken Sunday to do a plan, run to the grocery store, get just what we need for 5 days, I would not be bored of what I'm eating by day 4 right now.
Right. Yes. Right.
And I don't know if any of you guys have been to the grocery store. I went Monday and it was a zoo. Mike went yesterday and it was even more of a zoo. He waited in line for 30 minutes to buy some eggs. So if you can plan in advance and not have to be at the grocery store 2 days before Christmas, it helps.
Yeah, I did my last one. I'm done.
Awesome. And Cherry, I see you on Facebook. Meal planning never ends. Shopping, prepping, everything. It's a big pain. Yes, it can definitely be big pain, but it can also be a huge time saver. And Cherry, you have lots of little hands and lots of bodies in your house. So for you, really thinking about incorporating them into that process. So it's not another thing that you're taking on and you're doing every single time. What you could do is, this is a 5-step process. You could have 5 of your kids, each of them take a step. It could be something that you kind of make part of your guys' family routine. So you kind of think through this as, how do you bring the family into it so it's not just something that you're having to do on your own all the time, if you're someone who still has kids at home. Cherry says she is jealous. I love a food making husband. I have the opposite problem than Kevin.
I was going to say, the key is I just never learned to cook when we were married, and he kind of had to out of survival, which, now he's trained.
And how many years did that take?
It'll be 33 years that we've been married in April. So yeah, it's, an ongoing process, and it's in some ways sad because I will go and get like a salad or something at our local restaurant before I cook stuff, unless there's, then I'm good.
Well, I know you are not the only one that doesn't know how to cook or maybe doesn't enjoy cooking. I am the total opposite. I love cooking. I was actually just telling one of my clients, 95% of the time, I love being in the kitchen. I love cooking. I love planning. I love setting it all up. The other 5%, when I don't want to do it, it's the absolute worst thing for me. There's no in between. It's either a love or an absolute hate. And 95% of the time I love it because I've found a process that is fun, or that I think is fun. Everybody thinks fun a little bit differently. I think it's fun, and it allows me to create variety in my meals, but also keep it pretty simple so that I'm not having to buy a bunch of ingredients all of the time. Because one of the things that I absolutely hate is trying out a new recipe, buying that one spice for that one recipe. That recipe ends up sucking, and then you have this one bottle that's like $7 for the spice that you're never going to use again. So you will see in any recipe books that you guys get from me, my meals are pretty basic. And that is for the reason of I want to be able to use seasonings in multiple recipes. I want to be able to use chicken in multiple recipes. I want variety, but I also want simplicity. So as I go through today, I am going to let you guys know that, like I said, this is just an overview. These are the steps. We are going to dive into one of the steps, but at the start of the new year, so in 2023, I am going to be doing a 7-day meal planning challenge. So if at any point you guys are interested in learning what that even looks like and what that entails, just drop plan in the comments either here on Zoom or on Facebook. And once I get all those details completely compiled, I will send it out to you and we can kind of have that conversation. That whole challenge is going to be diving really deep into each and every one of these steps rather than just that overview. So hello, Julie. Good to see you on here. And simple is best. Yes, Cherry. So let's start with step number 1, which is really going to be our bonus step. And it's you have to set aside time. If you are not going to take that first step in setting aside time to even do any sort of meal prep, whether it's all 5 of these steps or just one of them, you're not going to be successful. So really that step that comes before hour 5 is you have to be able to set aside time and be willing to set aside time. I really like Sundays, especially during football season. Lions usually play at 1, which means we get up around 9, try to sleep in, create the meal plan, go grocery shopping, come home, and then I meal prep during the football game. It's one of my favorite things to do when I'm able to. I've found a time that I like putting away to allow myself to do this. So for you to be successful in any of these steps, you have to be able to and willing to put away the time, even if it's just 30 minutes once a week. Because putting that time away to prepare yourself is going to save you time in the long run. I do a lot of cooking 1 day a week, which means I don't have to do dishes 5 nights a week. And to me, that is a time saver. Same thing for lunch. If I can create the minimal amount of dishes throughout the week, that is a huge time saver for me. So the actual first step is to create a list of the foods that you love. And this is one to do with your family if you are able to, because you're going to get a lot of different insights and opinions from everybody else, which is awesome. Usually I will do it and then I have Mike look over it just to see if there's something that I've kind of forgotten about. But I'm going to show you, this is actually the activity we're going to go into right away before I take you through the rest of the steps. I'm going to be using a whiteboard here on Zoom. I've never done this, so let me know what you can see, what you can't see. And what I will do is I will download the PDF once it's done and I will post it so you guys have access to this if it is hard to read. But I'm going to get the whiteboard up. And so foods that I like. And this is something that you guys are going to be able to do. I templates commit to your health program. Anyone that's in there, you guys have these templates. It's in your ebook. For those of you who have not done a program with me, easiest way is grab a notebook, write it out. Foods that I like, and then create these categories: carbs, fats, protein, fruits, vegetables, and others. What you're going to do is we're actually going to take some time here. So grab out that notebook if you are able to. And we're just going to spend a few minutes jotting down some ideas in these categories. The reason we do this is because, I don't know about you, but I get stuck in eating the same dang thing all the time. And there's only so many times I can eat grilled chicken before I need to switch it up with that steak or some ground beef or some ground turkey. I need that variety. But if I don't have this sheet and I haven't created it, my mind is stuck in the small little loop of chicken, beef, chicken, beef, chicken, beef, until I look at the sheet and find, oh, I like salmon. Let's do salmon this week. So this is a really good tool. Honestly, I think I do this once, maybe twice a year. So this is step 1, where it's creating that list of your favorite food. You're not doing it every time. You're doing it once. You're sitting down with your family, or you're sitting down with your significant other, or you're sitting down with yourself and you're writing down all the foods you like. So I'm going to give us about 2 minutes here kind of go through, write some stuff out, and then I'm going to ask you guys so I can add it to this list. So we kind of have a master list. As you guys are writing down your favorite foods in all these categories, if there's a food you're not sure what category it belongs in, put it in that other category, and we will find where it goes. Cherry says, I will go in spurts of meal planning really well. Then I crash because I just hate it. It's so much work. I spend all the time doing it, and the meals seem to get eaten in 5 minutes. We used to have 2 menus, week 1 and week 2. We would like to recycle, but kind of got tired of them. The food that I like is good, but the other words are kind of hard to see on the screen. Okay. How about Jean or Mom? How can you see this? Is that better or worse?
Oh, you'd have to do it again. Sorry.
Okay, so this or this?
Looks the same to me.
I
Okay.
can't see. But I'm on my phone, so that doesn't count probably.
Okay, so on your phone, I know I've had issues of people seeing. I will download this PDF so you guys actually can have this full visual. But yeah, okay, perfect. So keep writing down some of those foods. We have about 1.5 minutes left. Julie says, I take recipes off Instagram and save them and have over 100. Oh, the number of recipes I have on Instagram and Facebook and Pinterest is ridiculous. And I'm going to tell you what, I feel like I only try 1 new recipe a month, if that. And to me, that's huge with the number that I find. So we are going to go around, and I want, for those of you on Facebook, drop your words in the comments, and I can kind of copy and paste them over. For Jean and Kelly, if you guys are still able to talk, what are some carbs that you like? Things that you classify as carbs and that you enjoy, that maybe you don't have all the time, but you still like them.
Potato chips.
Go right for the healthy ones.
Oatmeal. Oh, good girl getting German pretzels on there.
I know.
Spatzel. Niffles. Kniffles.
Thank you. Close enough?
Yes.
Anything else that you like? Bagels, sourdough bread, croissants, potatoes, normal potatoes, sweet potatoes, things like
Yes.
that.
Potatoes. And I like those other things, but I won't buy them because I don't need the carbs.
Rice,
Yes.
pasta.
Yeah, I don't eat them. I like them, but I don't eat them.
Okay. Jean, how about you? Anything on this list that we haven't mentioned yet?
Not that I can think of, but I totally, yeah, potatoes, sweet potatoes, just spaghetti squash sometimes. I mean, when that's in season is really good. But bread, which I try not to, I'm kind of like with Kelly, I try not to eat so much of that because I could live my life on that and it would be a sad story.
There's a lot on this list that I could just eat all day long, but if I don't pair it with that protein and that fat, that is all I will be eating all day long. Okay, we've got a pretty good list here. Let's go on to fats. So what are types of fats that you guys wrote down that you like? So avocado is a good healthy fat, and these don't have to be healthy options. We just want to get the foods we like out of our head and onto paper.
What about nuts? Where do they go? Almonds,
Yep.
cashews.
Perfect.
Butter.
Butter, oils, cheeses.
Peanut butter.
Yep. Anything else you guys can think of?
Sour cream. Where's that fit?
You got it. You also want to think of your fats as any of your dressings and oils. So like ranch dressing that we eat on our pizza, yes, that would fall under that fats category.
Where does hummus go?
Hummus is a healthy fat, so it does have protein in it. So you could technically classify it under fat or protein. I always go fat because I always add a protein with it because I feel fuller if I do.
Okay.
Um, Partly because you could do chickpeas here in the protein because chickpeas itself does not have any extra oil added to it, where when you make hummus, you have to add oil to it to make it that consistency. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Perfect. We've got a good fats column. Let's go into proteins. What types of proteins do we like?
Shrimp, chicken. A good burger. Turkey burger. Actually, I like turkey burger.
Salmon, whitefish, tuna,
Oh,
normal turkey, nice.
Oh, I'm gonna put a shout out for lamb chops. We had
Ooh.
lamb chops
Mm.
a while back. And those were good.
I don't think I've ever made lamb chops.
They're good.
That sounds really good. Okay, we've got a good list of protein. And like I said, you are going to create this list and it's going to be yours. This is where if you have others in the family that you are cooking with, ask them. Because you may not like lamb chops, but they might like lamb chops, which means every once in a while you may still want to put them in the mix, even if it's not something you fully enjoy. So just kind of keep that on the radar. Like, I don't like sardines. We buy sardines because Mike likes sardines, but we still put them on the list so that we don't forget about them. Okay, coming down here to fruits. I know Jean likes apples. What other fruits do we like? Because we like to have our list, because I don't know about you. I always just grab apples, even though there's hundreds of other fruits that I enjoy. Apples are just simple, so I grab them.
What about bananas? Because I feel like they're a fruit, but I don't know if they're as healthy, or at least I definitely feel differently if I eat bananas versus apples, if that makes sense.
So bananas are going to be higher in carbs. So a lot of times when we pair a banana with peanut butter post or pre-workout, bananas give us that quick carbs that our body is looking for. And that fat, that peanut butter with it helps keep our body full a little bit longer. It is a fruit, but it is a higher carb fruit, which means it's going to give you a little bit more of that boost, like if you were to eat pasta, than if you were to eat an apple. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Perfect. So yeah, apples, bananas. Oh, Cherry's got strawberries, peaches.
Blackberries,
Oh, blackberries.
raspberries.
Oh, my spelling skills are on point today. Which is not usually the case. When you guys see the PDF, you may correct me, but according to mine, there's no red lines. We've got pineapple, kiwi, melon, raspberries, blackberries, oranges. I don't eat this, but I know some people do dragon fruit or passion fruit. There are so many unique types of fruits out there and vegetables that if you've had it once, probably somewhere at a restaurant, if you liked it, put it on this list. A lot of times we can figure out how to cook it and make it if we want to, but it may also just be a good thing to look at when we go to a restaurant. Like, I'm going to order something with it because I'm not going to buy it for home. Awesome. Let's move into vegetables here. What are some vegetables that we like on this list?
Cucumbers. Oh, you have it. Broccoli, corn, mushrooms, cauliflower rice.
Perfect. Cherry's got broccoli, cauliflower, peppers. You are right up our alley here. Onions, any of the squashes or zucchinis. Yeah, that was not spelled right. I don't think it does the red line. um, Yeah, so all of you who are looking at this PDF later, the spelling may not be correct. Perfect. And then when it comes to others, this is one where I will classify anything that I don't know what category it belongs in, or if it's like, I really like brownies. Well, brownies are gonna fall underneath that carb, but it's something special. So if you think of others as like those special foods that you have that you're not gonna have every single day, but you're going to have and you want to indulge in every once in a while, put that in that other category. For some people, it's tiramisu. For some people, it's ice cream. For some people, it's caramel corn. Like, it can be something different, but it's not necessarily going to be something that you incorporate into your daily or weekly meal plan. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to export this as a PNG and a PDF, and I will get that uploaded to you guys. So step one, create that list of your favorite foods. We just did a very quick version of this. You guys will all be getting this. I'll post it in the group. But do we have any questions on step number one, whether it's any more, why are we doing this? Any suggestions, anything like that? Anything else on step number one before we move into the next 4 steps?
Nope.
Feeling good? Awesome. So like I said, step number one, we're not doing every single week. We're not doing every single month. Usually like once to twice a year is a good amount of time. Our taste buds do change. For instance, if you haven't heard me, I like celery now. I did with buffalo chicken dip a few weeks ago, and I absolutely love it now. So it's one of those where our taste buds do change over time. So this list is not something that you're gonna write in pen and carve into the wall. No, it is something that's gonna change as your taste buds change and as your family's taste buds change. But it's still super important to have the knowledge to be able to create this list and the skill to, okay, I need to pull this list back out. Something else that is super important is when you are creating your meal plan for the week, pull this list out. Don't just write this down and put it in a folder or shove it in the junk drawer. You should have a spot with all of your stuff for meal planning and make sure this is with it. We didn't just do this to waste time. We did this to make your life easier and to make creating meals a little bit faster. Sherry says, having a list of what people like does not help me actually get meals made. Exactly. We're moving on to the next step. So we have, and it was a list of all of that food that our family likes or that we like. Now we're going to go into creating the meals. And this is where I look at that sheet and you're going to pull out your calendar. And the first thing that I always have everybody do is put the personal events. If you know you have to eat out on Tuesday night because you are on the road and you're not going to be home till 9 p.m., make that the meal plan. Plan when you are going to eat out or when you are on the road. Yes, I would ideally like for you to have a meal with you that's a little bit healthier that you can eat on the go. I know that is not always the case. But if you know you're not going to be home in time for dinner and it needs to be a day that you have to eat on the road, put that on the meal plan. Write it down, put it on there. I use just a basic calendar, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't normally plan my weekend meals because we're just never home. But I always plan my Monday through Friday, breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. This looks different when we sit down and we work through everybody specifically. But now you're going to create your meals for the week. Biggest thing to do is if you can keep it as simple as possible, I eat the same breakfast every single day. Monday through Friday, I eat the same breakfast. Last week, my breakfast was 2 eggs, 2 pieces of sourdough bread, a little bit of goat cheese, and a piece of Black Forest ham. That was my breakfast every single morning, and it was delicious. It was fueling. I felt great. I don't get bored of it. But that doesn't mean week 2 of the month, I'm going to eat that. I'm going to switch that up, and I'm going to do a different breakfast for Monday through Friday. I don't overcomplicate my life because I am busy. I know I don't have kids, but I'm still busy. And if I have to think about planning and making a really complicated meal each morning just for variety, that won't work for me. So I need to make sure my meal is balanced and that I like it enough to eat it all 5 days in a row because I'm going to buy enough stuff for us to have it. With lunches, I look at what my life looks like. If you are someone who's at home, who's able to cook, your lunches are going to look different than my lunches. I don't cook on my lunches because it takes up too much time, and that means I don't get done at work with work the time I want to. So instead, my lunches are things such as leftovers that I've already planned for, or they're things such as tuna packets, canned chicken, things that don't take more than 15 minutes to make up and to eat. So think of, what does your life look like when you're creating your meal plan for that week? Maybe you're not home on Wednesday at lunchtime. Maybe Wednesday at lunch is when you go to Panera with a friend every week. Put that as the plan. Don't plan for a meal that you're not going to consume. And then dinners. I try to do, and I know this looks different for everybody, but I'm just giving you my insights. I try to do Monday, Tuesday, same dinner, Wednesday, Thursday, same dinner, and then we usually eat out on Friday. So in reality, I'm cooking only 2 dinners that week. And that right there is really helpful. It allows me to buy a little bit more in kind of that bulk style, which does save a little bit of money. It allows me to only have to cook and do dishes once. It allows me to have enough leftovers for that next day, because usually when I back up Monday, Tuesday is usually a busier night. We eat a little bit later, that wanting to be in the kitchen is not as fun. And I know that about myself. I've been able to figure out what days are days I enjoy cooking and which days I absolutely dread it. So the days that I know show up as absolutely dreading it are days I always make sure there's leftovers from the night before. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Awesome. Cherry says pizza night is every Thursday for our family, and I love it. I don't have to make anything or think about it. Absolutely. Put that on the calendar. Make that something that you do. After step 2, we go on to step 3, which is you create your grocery list. So often I have people that just go get groceries and then come home and figure out what meals they're going to eat. I have to be really adventurous to want to do that. That's usually we don't have anything in the house. What can Morgan create with the randoms that she has? We had sauerkraut and pretzels and pork on Sunday because we didn't have groceries. So thinking through, you can do the creative way that way, or you plan your week, you plan your meals, you know what is in each and every one of those meals, you check your cupboards, and then you make your grocery list. Create that list and only put on things from that grocery list that you need for those meals that week. I don't know about you, but if I walk into the grocery store without a list, I'm more likely to get things that I don't need, whether it's food or things in the beauty section or just walking through the aisles. I am one of those people that was like, oh, this is cool. And I walk around and I either set it back down or end up buying it for no reason. So I always go to the grocery store with a list, whether it's a physical list or it's a digital list on my phone, does not matter. When you get to the grocery store, try really hard to stick to that list. Start by walking the perimeter of the store first. Do your produce, do your meat section, then go down and do your dairy. Do all of your cold stuff first, and then only go down the middle aisles of the aisles that you actually need something. Here at Meijer, we have a cereal and coffee aisle. If I don't need coffee or cereal, I'm not going down that aisle just to look around. I'm not going down the frozen pizza aisle. I'm not going down the ice cream aisle unless those things are on my list that week. That's going to save your budget. So often we just throw those things in, and it's also going to save time. We are all very strapped for time. So if we can get in and out and be effective with what's on our list and get the things we need to get, we are going to have more time, which means that we're going to have, this process is going to take a shorter amount of time to complete. Any questions here on step number 3, which is create your grocery list?
Nope.
Awesome. So you get home, you have all your groceries. Normally what happens, and probably most of the time this is what's going to happen, is you just have to put it away because you're running from one thing to the next. If you are able to keep things such as your vegetables out, or if you bought a big packet of nuts, things that need to be portioned out, keep those out, put everything else away, and prep whatever you can. So step number 4 is to prep whatever you can as soon as it comes home from the store. So for me, as soon as that celery came home from the grocery store, I cut it off the stalk, I cut it into pieces, and I put it in a container. Because I know if I don't make it easily accessible for me, it's gonna get all brown and mushy and like gross and slimy, and then it's gonna be a waste. It's also gonna save me time during the week to having to cut it up while I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off sometimes. So when we think about prepping whatever you can, it's not prepping everything and cooking everything on Sunday. It's thinking through, I'm not home at all Wednesday. Can I put together my meals for Wednesday now so I don't have to worry about it Tuesday night or Wednesday morning? So it's not, don't focus on everything. Because if we focus on everything, nothing happens. Think about what is something that you can prep, even if it's just that one thing. For me that week, it was the celery. I prepped the celery. I cut up all the celery. I put that in the things. Another week, it was, I bought a huge thing of nuts at Aldi. Aldi does have the best price for quantity and type of nuts, just so you guys know. I got home and I put them in little containers and bags so that Mike and I could just grab them as we needed to, rather than sticking our hand in again, and overeating on nuts. They were already pre-portioned. They were the right portion size that I needed to fuel myself, but not feel like I was depriving myself. And that right there, sometimes you can just buy the convenience wrapped. Sometimes I buy in bulk if I have time to make them the on-the-go snacks. So think through what makes the most sense for you and prep what you can for your school lunches. If you can have an idea of what your kids' lunches are every single Wednesday or every single day. This week, they're gonna have peanut butter and jelly all week. And they're gonna have carrots and hummus. And then I'm gonna send them with strawberries. Awesome. Can you prep any of that in advance? Can you have the strawberries cut in baggies already? Can you have the hummus already in little containers? How can you streamline this for yourself to make the night before school or the morning before school less stressful and chaotic? We just have to set aside the time, which I know is easier said than done. Any questions on step number 4 before we move on to our final step here? Okay. I always try to take apples and oranges out of the bag and put it in the bowls on the counter or the table. Perfect. Exactly. Something as simple as that. Because if they're in the bag, it's one more twist tie to undo to open it. It sounds so stupid, but that right there, honestly, may be I eat the apples or I don't. So if we can make it as simple and easy and as convenient for us as possible and for your kids, they're gonna eat them. If you put them at their eye level and you keep them out, if you put iceberg lettuce out on the table, I'd probably snack on that. If you put chips out on the table, I'd probably snack on that. Whatever is out on the counter is what I will go snack on. So if we can have healthier options available for quick on-the-go snacks, that's gonna help you feel better and fuel your body in the proper way. Okay, our 5th and final step, stick to your plan. You've set aside the time, you've sat down, you've made the plan, you've grocery shopped, you've prepped it. Now it's Monday. We've stuck to our plan Monday. Ooh, feeling good. It's Tuesday, stuck to our plan, feeling good. Wednesday, oh, life happened. I'm just gonna eat out all day long. You have all these other things. Stick to your plan, know your plan. Know what you're gonna eat that day. People think it's funny that I always wanna know what I'm gonna eat next. And it's because I have a plan and I wanna know how to plan for that next thing. It's not because I always revolve around food, yeah, sometimes, but it's really okay, I eat breakfast at 6 a.m. I know I have to eat every 3 hours, which means I need to be having a snack between 9 and 10. And if I can plan that out and I know my body and I have the right foods on hand and available, I'm not gonna go for those things that don't fuel me, that make me feel gross and sluggish after. So sometimes it comes across as being, obsessive with food. That's not the case. I look at it because if I don't plan, I eat like crap. And that plan helps me feel good, gain my strength, and maintain my weight where it is. And it's because I've planned for it. Whereas if I'm just kind of willy-nilly all over the place, that doesn't happen for me. It's a struggle. I end up with random meals that I hope are balanced rather than meals that I know are balanced. Sherry says, oh, sticking to the plan is hard. So many things change and come up. And if we can keep things as simple as possible, eat the same, have that meal, have those meals for the week be as simple as possible that can be on the go and warmed up. Have those, you guys have heard me talk about it, your emergency stash of food. I always have packets of tuna. I always have nuts. I always have eggs. I always have canned chicken. what types of foods do you always keep on hand for emergencies so that you're not having to grab something such as a candy bar or a cookie or things like that, especially this time of the year. So to review, and then we'll go over questions. Review, and then we'll do questions, and then we'll get out of here. So bonus step, you have to set aside time. If you can't set aside time to do just one of these steps, it's not going to be successful. It won't work. So set aside time and just work on one step. So maybe this week, all you're doing is you're setting aside 20 minutes and you're just going to create that list of favorite foods. And that's all you're going to do this week for meal planning. That's okay. And then once you've done that, you can set aside time to create your meals for the week. And then slowly work your way through. So step number 1, create a list of your favorite foods. That is the activity that we did today here at the start. I will be posting the photo of it so you guys have it. Create your own. For those of you who have worked with me, you already have the templates for these. If you can't find it, let me know and I will get you the template again. Step number 2, create your meals for the week. Lay out your calendar. Look at what your personal life looks like and make your meals match your personal life. I get overzealous sometimes and we're gonna have this really fancy, nice dinner. Well, we're not even home that day. Why'd I put that there? Be realistic. Look at your calendar. Look at what makes sense and then pick your meals accordingly. Step number 3, go grocery shopping. Stick to that grocery list. Stick to that list. Save yourself time and money by sticking to that list. Step number 4, when you get home from the grocery store, prep whatever you can. Pull those apples out of the bag. Cut that celery up. Maybe you have time to grill some chicken for the week so you don't have to do it later on. Grill that chicken. Prep whatever you can in the amount of time you have available. And then step number 5, stick to that plan as best as you can. You've put the time aside to create the plan. Follow through on the plan. The more consistent you can be with this, the better you are going to feel and the more energy you're going to have because you're going to be fueling your body in the correct ways rather than just living off the seat of your pants of, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. It's going to help calm you down. It's going to help lower the stress and it's going to help you have more energy. So remember, I'm going to be doing a 7-day meal planning challenge at some time in the start of the new year. So if you want access to those details and you want to learn about it, drop plan in the comments. I will get those to you once I've finalized. But I did want to share about it today because this was a very quick, not super in depth, but just enough to get you guys started. So I want to know questions that anybody has first. And then if we have no questions, I want to know your biggest insight or takeaway from today. And then we will get on out of here.
I don't have any questions, but I think for it to work for me, I've got to break it down into smaller pieces because it's just, I have listened to you before on this and I haven't committed to making any progress on it. So I got to figure out how to break it into smaller things.
Awesome. So first thing is set aside time to just create that list of foods you like. That's the first step. So just create that list of foods you like. And after you've done that, let me know and I'll give you the next step. Because those small bite-sized pieces exactly is how we make it simple. This is a simple plan if you look at it on paper, but implementing anything is challenging. Right. So start with just step number 1, create that list of your favorite foods, find a spot where you're going to put it where you're going to put all your kind of meal planning stuff, put it there, and then let me know and we'll look at step 2.
Okay.
Jean, any questions from you? Or Cherry, any questions from you?
No questions from me. I think I do remember you doing something super similar to this, and it's just a good review. But I do, like you do breakfast the same every day for a week, and that's kind of where I'm at with my lunch, which the one thing I've switched up is I get a couple of oh shoot, they're like the little chickens at Myers. What do I want to say? That you can just grab them. They're like $6. They're a whole chicken.
Yeah, they're rotisserie chickens.
That's the word I wanted. Yes. And those have been really nice because I take one of those to school, and I have a fridge and a microwave in my back lab. And so I'll just eat off of that rotisserie chicken, and then just vary my bag salads, and feel pretty good about that. So it's kind of a no-brainer, which is nice.
I love that you mentioned the rotisserie chicken. And some people may say, well, that's not good for you. There's a lot of salt. Some people may say, oh, that's great. If it's convenient for you and it works, do it. There is really no perfect way of eating. We are all different. So, Jean, the fact that you found that you can take a rotisserie chicken and X amount of bags of salad to work with you and you are set for the week, that is golden. That is, you don't have to overthink that. It's simple, it's easy, it's done for you.
Yeah. And I mean, before I've done like frozen chicken that just has to be microwaved, but the price of that just was really high, and the rotisseries stayed at a pretty good price. And I mean, I take the skin off of the rotisserie chicken, and so it's, I try to make it as healthy as I can.
I think it's great. I think it's a great alternative to get protein in. It's easy, it's quick, you can warm it up. You don't have to worry about the stress of it. That's why I like tuna packets. So I like canned chicken is there's no stress, and the price usually stays about the same, and it's very versatile. You don't always have to eat the chicken with salads, but you can eat it, but that's your plan. I love it. Cherry says, do the best with what works for you and your family. I think knowing what I can commit to is important. I don't have to do the whole week. I can start by planning one meal for the week and maybe make extra to plan leftover meals. Yay, I plan 2 meals. Awesome. Yes, break it down. If planning a whole week is overwhelming, start with just planning your Mondays. Get used to that. Then just plan your Tuesdays. This is a process that grows and evolves over time. I didn't just sit down and all of a sudden start doing this. It grew over time. I've dialed it in over time. I have little tricks that I use in and out now that I didn't used to use. And now I can do all this in a Sunday in about 3 hours. I can have my entire week planned. I can have everything planned in about 3 hours on a Sunday, because I'm efficient and I've been doing it for so long. So it takes time. But starting with that one day or that one step is the most important thing you can do. So, insights and takeaways from anyone who is on Facebook. Cherry, I know you're still there. Julie, if you're still there, give your insight and takeaway. Kelly and Jean, let's go for it. Kelly?
I just have to start. That's my takeaway. Sorry. It's not hard. It's just that simple for me.
Just got to start. I like it.
I need to make it a micro habit. Take a piece of it and make it a micro habit.
I like it. Let's pair it with January 9th when we're at it, when we're doing the other one.
Yeah. Yep. That sounds good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Jean, how about you?
I think my takeaway is just keep reminding about all of this, because excuse me, if you keep it in front of you, excuse me, then I think it's going to become more natural, because you're thinking, oh yeah, I do need to plan, which when I look back, I probably didn't plan my lunches. It was just random, where now for the last couple of years, I've been planning my lunches. So it's normal. It's not, does that make sense?
Yeah, it doesn't feel like work. It's a habit now. You just do it.
Yeah. And I mean, but listening to all this is a good reminder of why I do it and how convenient it is. And just, I do, need to, and I will say the last time we did this, I did sit down and make up a list and everything. And then I did share it with my husband, and we got some varied meals from that. So I might have to do that again, but yeah, it's just this whole thing was a great reminder of what really should happen.
Awesome. I love it. And Cherry, as you drop your insight in here, I'll read it. I love this training because it is 5 steps, but we have to start where we currently are. And if you are someone who needs to start with that one meal or just that first step, start there. Do not take it all on. And that is one of the main things about this group. And one of the main things about me is you cannot do it all at once. It's not a 0 to 100 approach. You have to start with one thing, and you have to be consistent with that one thing. Once you've consistently done that one thing, you then get to add the next thing on. We don't get to lose that first thing as we add the next thing on. We keep slowly piling these micro habits onto one another until we're doing these subconsciously. Like, we want to be able to just plan and have it be fun and have it just happen and be part of that routine rather than this thing we have to fit in. No, it's just part of the routine now. There's nothing that goes on that's going to disrupt it. So thank you all for being here. I hope you have a very Merry Christmas and joy. We are supposed to get some snow here in Michigan. People keep talking about this huge snowstorm. I'm going to try not to, fingers crossed, that it doesn't actually happen. But if you are going to get snowed in, be safe. Make sure you have everything you need. Merry Christmas. And I will see you all next week for same time, same place. And I believe we're talking about goal setting. Don't quote me on that. But I will see you all next week. Have a great rest of your weekend.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.